News 46 is brought to you by Golden Casino Group, where you'll always find great fun, good food, and fantastic entertainment, all at Gold Town, Lakeside, and the Pahrump Nugget. News is also brought to you by J.K. Nelson Law. Call 727-9900 today for your free consultation. If you need a lawyer, you need Nelson.
Tonight on News 46, new details are released regarding a mom's murder. And a thrift store designed to help veterans is having a grand opening. News 46 starts now.
You're watching KPVM News 46 with Deanna O'Donnell and Eunette Gentry. News 46, local coverage you can count on.
The last moments of a murder victim fighting for her life, we have those details. It's Thursday, August 2nd. I'm Eunette Gentry. Unfortunately, it was a grisly scene the evening of July 19th when 46-year-old Dawn Liebig went to sleep but then was abruptly woken by a person who was stabbing her. The mother, who had professed her love for her 4 sons on Facebook, stating that they, quote, are her life, was allegedly killed by 2 of her sons.
Details have been released regarding the murder of 46-year-old Dawn Liebig by her 17-year-old sons Dakota Saldivar and Michael Wilson. The murder appears to have occurred on July 19th. The declaration of arrest are charging both the pair with first-degree murder, obstruction, domestic battery with a deadly weapon, and conspiracy to commit murder. Additional charges have come in for a false statement to obstruct a public officer and failing to provide for a confined animal. The Nye County Sheriff's Office report that on July 31st, detectives were contacted by phone from an individual in Idaho who said that they were calling to get an update on a missing persons case regarding Dawn Liebig. Police had made contact previously with the individuals inside the home who told them that their mother had left to visit a friend in Las Vegas. The individual told police that Dawn had a mental disability and that she had left the residence after an argument occurred. Police made contact with neighbors down the street who confirmed that Dawn had a lot of disabilities and that he believes her to be dead due to the type of family that she lives in. The neighbor also told police that Dawn was not a good person, and he made a promise to his brother before he passed away that he would take care of his family. Neighbors told News 46 that Dawn had been battling cancer, and they believed her to be a methamphetamine user. Deputies had spoke to 17-year-old Michael Wilson, who they say told them that Dawn had fallen asleep, and the next morning when he woke up, he couldn't find her. He also gave police a description of what the individual was wearing. During the investigation, detectives were able to access Dawn's Facebook page, which showed that there had not been any activity since July 19th. On July 31st, detectives arrived at the Wedgwood address to speak to Dakota Saldivar and Michael Wilson. They initially denied knowing the location of their mother or what happened to her. After viewing text messages on both suspects' cell phones, one said, "My mom has passed away." During the course of the conversation with Wilson, he stated to police that he and his brother had killed her. Wilson stated to police that he stabbed Dawn Liebig in the neck 1 time, and Dakota Saldivar stabbed her in the neck multiple times. He then said that they put Liebig's body in her vehicle, drove her to the mountains, and buried her approximately 2 feet in the ground. They said that they buried one of the knives used to stab her and the paper towels that they used to clean up the blood. Wilson said that they stabbed his mother in the living room of the residence. Wilson then said that his mother asked them to kill her. At that time, Wilson brought police to the area where the knives and the towels were located. He said that they used a pickaxe and shovel to bury his mother. The other items used in this murder were outside the residence. In speaking with Saldivar, police say that he continued to report that his mother was a missing person until he found out that Michael had already confessed. Shortly after that, he then admitted, according to police, that he murdered Dawn because, quote, they couldn't take her complaining, and justified it by saying that she wanted to be with her deceased sister. Saldivar gives a much more detailed description of the actual murder, saying that Dawn was sleeping in the living room and they kept checking on her to see if she was actually asleep. At that time, they say the plan was to kill her by stabbing her in the jugular vein to kill her fast, but it didn't work out as planned. They say that Wilson stabbed her in the neck and Dawn yelled no. Then he struck her in the head with a hammer. He continually struck her about 20 times. They say that their mother then called out for her two children to help her because she didn't know it was actually them that were assaulting her. Saldivar then said that Dawn was asking them if this was really happening to her or if what was happening was real. They say that Saldivar then stabbed her in the back of the neck with a pocket knife. The ordeal apparently lasted 25 minutes according to the report, in which Dawn was vigorously fighting back. The assault ended when the hammer finally went through her skull. Then they took Dawn's body in her own 2001 Ford Explorer to the desert and buried her. Wilson and Saldivar indicated that they had to care for the animals inside the home because Dawn wasn't there to care for them herself. Deputies searched the residence and discovered approximately 20 cats inside the home that appeared to be malnourished. There was no cat food found inside the residence. Michael Wilson advised police that he had been legally adopted by Dawn approximately 5 years prior. Both Wilson and Saldivar were arrested at that time and transported to Nye County Sheriff's Office Detention Center.
Such a tragic story. Well, turning now to national news, vehicle manufacturers are having a summertime slump. Angela Miles reports on that in today's Business First Brief.
Topping our news, Ford is among the automakers that had a dent in sales for the month of July. Passenger cars are in a slump. More Americans are buying slightly used vehicles and pickups. Ford reported a 3.1% downshift in sales. Toyota slipped 6%. Fiat Chrysler pulled out a 5.9% increase as Jeeps are quickly rolling off of lots. General Motors no longer reveals monthly sales numbers. Tesla is the final U.S. automaker reporting earnings this season. The electric car company drove in mixed results by posting a larger than expected loss, but revenue was slightly better than predicted. Tesla lost $718 million in the quarter. The company is aiming to produce 6,000 Model 3 sedans per week. The stock rocked around on the news. The Container Stores business is out of the box. The retailer reports sales rose 6.9% in the latest quarter. Investors could barely contain themselves.
And stay tuned to News 46. We'll have more local news for you right after this break.